value of your house as well, so, which, and a slight
Vacant land,
increase.
so, yeah.
Yep, so I don't have any issue with that. Anyone else in the board? Mr. Bode?
Just a question actually related to recent correspondence. Does anyone on city council have the recollection of either a city employee or a city professional recommending that CARES or American Recovery money be somehow used, quote unquote, to reduce taxes versus to support other things? I think the ambulance idea is a great one. I first heard about it tonight. But I was just curious whether anyone actually had a recollection that the statement had been made that that had happened, which was news to me because I don't recall that at a meeting, but I didn't know if anyone else recalled that at a meeting.
There's not been a lot of open discussion about application of CARES money, for the American
Yeah,
Recovery Act.
but certainly not from a city employee or one of the city professionals recommending that it somehow be used for tax reduction or something else.
It cannot be used for tax reduction. They're pretty specific.
It can't, no?
They're pretty
Oh.
specific
It
about
could be
that.
used for lost revenue that could have been applied.
There is something for lost revenue, but most towns are holding off because of the regulations are such that we want to make sure that what we're doing, we won't have to pay the money back.
Right, I was just trying to get some clarification because there had been a statement made that seemed to be without
There
foundation.
was a lot of false statements, Mr. Bode.
Yeah, and you have made many of them, sir. You have made many.
Okay, thank
You've
you.
made many.
We're not here to discuss a campaign.
You're the one, you're the one that's now talking
Anybody
about
else
it.
in the public that
I
has
just asked a
something?
simple question.
I might have an answer to that question too. There was a reasonable question buried in there. And it is, what do we, I understood it to be, what do we intend to do with the money we're receiving under the American Recovery Act? One of the things that kind of baffles me about government, the way we operate, the way we both achieve and spend money, is, this is a great example of it. We kind of conjure or reconcile whatever it is we thought we spent because of COVID that we wouldn't otherwise have spent. We put that in a big lump and then we explain to the federal government, we spent this much money more than we thought we would have to, and we need this much money back to be made whole in these particular areas, and they send us that piece of money, I would think, expecting us to spend it in the way that we said we were deprived because of the catastrophe to begin with, and then we get the money and say, oh, what are we gonna spend this on? So, all that to say, I haven't heard anything, I listen as well as anybody up here, and I haven't heard any proposals short of what Mayor Hazer just brought in for what we intend to do with this money.
Yeah.
Well,
You hear some things kicked around, but there hasn't been any, you haven't heard any.
Well,
anything on the
and that's
agenda
why I
or
asked
anything.
if there was some, from a I mean, I realize at different times, the elected officials can have different discussions, and everyone has the right to their own opinion. Because we all have also various bodily parts, and we all go from there. But what I was trying to get at was, I didn't recall hearing anything from a city employee or a city professional with a specific recommendation.
Mr.
Period.
Moore's in discussion, Mr. Moore's had some good ideas, he's got experience with this stuff, and he
Right.
knows kind of what most behooves us to spend money on.
Right.
But I haven't seen anything come across.
But it
the
wasn't,
dais that
but there wasn't
suggests
anything
that
about a
we're
tax
spending.
reduction, is what I'm getting at.
well, I think council should recall that last year, we put together a budget, and then in October, at the 11th hour, we come to find out that what we had anticipated of $191,000 that we were going to receive, in fact, only turned out to be $123,000 of pilot funding. And I'm sure council recalls that. And then that put us into a little bit of a tailspin. So that money could, in fact, have been applied towards that lost revenue. And I stand firm with that.
But that's not an accurate depiction of what happened, Mayor.
Well, listen,
You thought it was $191,000, the rest of
And you thought taxes
council
went up, and you thought taxes
disagreed
went up
and
because of
voted not
lawsuits
to
when they
accept
did.
it as real because we didn't have the money yet, and then it turned out it wasn't coming.
it's,
So
listen,
it
is there
really
anything
didn't
else?
disappoint me at all.
Anything else?
I never expected it.
Anybody who hasn't spoken yet? I'll make a motion for closing the meeting.
I think you should recognize Mayor
He's
Hazer as
already
a
had the
visiting
floor.
official.
May I?
You
Yeah,
can
as
go
far as
ahead,
working,
Madam
sir.
Secretary, go ahead.
May I suggest that at these meetings that we're gonna talk about the money for the ambulance, that we have the mayor and city council president from next year do these meetings. I know you have the right to assign committees, but I really think it would behoove us to work with who's gonna be here next year, and I really would hope that we could meet with the new mayor and the new city council president, and they sit on that committee.
Well, I don't think they even know who the new council president's gonna be, Mr. Hazer, and I'm still on the council until December 31st, so therefore that does give me the right to, be at that meeting.
Well, it
Okay.
gives you the right, but it doesn't mean it's wise to do it. There's a wise basis for his suggestion, his recommendation.
Mr. Dilge, for 2
Can you
years,
counter
you've
it
been
with
trying to say
something
that I don't have the right to do anything.
This is
Well,
exactly
what's
why I
left?
want
What's
to do
left?
it.
If you
Remember that
vote-
conversation you gave me?
He's
in
gonna
Lansing on
torpedo
that-
this whole piece of.
I don't know what you're talking,
Yeah,
we're
I
talking
do, of
about
course you
an
don't.
ambulance.
Is
You
there
don't ever
a
recall
motion
anything,
to
okay?
adjourn?
But you remember what you said to me in Atlantic City that
No, I
night?
don't, Mayor.
Would you like me to say what you said?
Second.
Would you like me to say it? What you
It
say?
sounds like you're dying to say it.
Boy, your face
Aye.
is turning red as a beet.
Aye.
Talk to your solicitor. Because of the content of that.